Hey, what's up? Welcome back to the podcast. Episode 192, which is still insane. Like every time I see that number, I'm like, yo, we've been here for a minute. I wanted to thank you for listening. If this is your first time listening, welcome. If it's your, second time, 10th time, maybe you've been with me since the beginning, I want to thank you for tuning in because it's still kind of funny to me, to be honest with you, to sit here talking to a microphone by myself. Of course, as you've noticed, we're alternating between guest episodes, but I never thought I'd be doing this. You know what? I was very hesitant in terms of, should I really do this? And this is for me. Same thing goes for, doing public speaking at gyms and stuff. But the reason I bring that up is that sometimes we're going to have to do things outside of our comfort zone in order to grow. You know what? Not even sometimes. We have to step outside of that comfort zone. And I want to start with that because I want to kick things off with a bit of a reflection because we're looking at, by the time this goes up, will it already be April 1st or when? Let me see real quick. Because we're almost there. We're almost in Q2 of 2025. I was going to say 2024. Okay, so tomorrow, if you're listening to this, tomorrow, Tuesday, is going to be April 1st, which is insane, if you ask me. Insane. Because that means that we're already a quarter into this year. We're already 25% done with this year. And I want you to sit with that for a second and really think, okay, where am I at currently? Because it's time to make a change if nothing has changed. It's time to start applying the things we always talk about every single week. And I know that's not easy. I do want to break down a really great opportunity for you in a sec. But I also want you to listen to this and think, okay, cool. So whether I want to join the Odyssey or not, let me make sure to at least start applying this stuff. Because that's why I do this podcast. You already know. I literally say it in the mid-roll thing. We don't do ads. This is just out of passion. I want to help you get unstuck and finally get the results that you're after. Because I see it among my clients. They come to me, they say, hey, look, I've been trying to lose weight for 10 years. I've tried all the diets. Nothing seems to work. We get them the results. And it's not even because of some special diet or whatever that may be. No, you know what? There's actually a lot of basic stuff. And we're going to touch on the basic stuff today. Now, I can break down all the things that are included in a 12-week course in one podcast episode, but I'm going to do my best to touch on the most important things and just give you an overview of like, hey, okay, so if I'm trying to figure this stuff out, one thing at a time, where should I begin? Like, what's maybe something I can apply right now? Now, that being said, I do want you to remember that we are now open for enrollment and the Odyssey is finally back for the second cohort. So that's going to start on April 7th. So next week, so upcoming Monday, we're going to start our next cohort. The reason I bring this up is that we will not be doing another cohort in Q3. We're going to do one towards the end of the year, but you also don't want to wait until then. Because let's just be, without judging ourselves, if right now we can say in this first 25% of the year, this first quarter, I'm kind of exactly where I'm at still, right? Nothing has changed. I tried really hard, but then I fell off. Or maybe we didn't try, and that's also okay. I just want you to be honest with yourself. But we said we had this big goal. And on January 1st, you said, hey, we're going to finally make it work this year. This year, I'm actually going to make it happen. It's now almost April 1st. Where are we currently at? And I'm not judging, neither should you. Neither should you judge yourself for either doing great or let's call it terrible. I don't want you to call it that, but you know what I mean though. And you know what? Actually, I'll take that back. So if you've been killing it, obviously give yourself the credit. But I'm trying to say is like, hey, if things are not going as planned, don't beat yourself up. But listen to this podcast and really give this an honest shot and think, okay, hey, maybe this is actually something I can try because I'm not here to sell you any quick fix thing. I'm actually giving to you exactly what I know works. I created the Odyssey, right? My 12-week course. And that's now also a group coaching program. I created this based off of what's now almost 5 years of coaching with my one-on-one clients. And before even launching the Odyssey, I've taken my one-on-one clients through this multiple times, hundreds of people. Whether that's for fat loss goals, muscle gain, whatever that may be. And for most people, that is fat loss, right? Because most of our clients, right, if you're a female between, let's say, 30s and 50s, right? Maybe you have a kid, maybe multiple kids, maybe you're even a single mom, right? There's a good chance that you've tried all these different diets. There's a good chance that you've tried to lose the weight, but you regained it. There's a good chance you gained 10, 20 kilos, throughout pregnancy and you can't get back to where you were before pregnancy and you would really like to. I see this time and time again, and I've helped people overcome exactly that by now hundreds of times. So I know how to get you results. My question to you is, are you open for a new approach that doesn't include just dieting all the time? Because I'll tell you this, I'm just wrapping up. I mean, today's, as I'm recording this on March 30th, is the official final day of the first cohort of the Odyssey. On average, and this is the 12-week period, right? On average, people have lost 5 to 10% of their body weight, 5 to 10% of their measurements, so their waist measurement, I should say, specifically. We've seen a 5 to 10% reduction there. The first 4 weeks together, we barely, I think there was 2 people who were in a mild deficit and everyone else was put on maintenance. And even those people who were eating more, they actually start to lose body fat. And 12 weeks is a lot you can do. And you know what? If you've been really trying to diet all the time, and if you're, again, doing one diet after the next, and, you know, it just keeps going like that. You try another one, you try low carb, you try keto, you try fasting, and you hear another diet from your colleague, and then it's the shakes, and you've done it all. And every single time you're back at square one. Every single time you have to restart that same New Year's resolution. You regain the same 5 to 10 kilos, maybe even more, and you just get more frustrated. The hormones are out of whack. You stop believing in yourself because time and time again, like, this doesn't seem to work. Like, is it me, right? Is it me? Is it my metabolism? Is it my hormones? No, it's the approach. And it's the diets and the meal plans and the fat loss challenges that are failing you. You're not the problem here. You might be the person who needs help figuring this out, but you're not the problem. It's the fact that no one fucking tells you what to do before the diet. No one tells you what to do after the diet. It's all short term. That's why I get so fired up about fat loss challenges. That's why I even did that whole rant episode a couple of weeks ago, why most fat loss challenges suck. Like, I mean, we just wrapped up a challenge, right? We do challenges, but it's not based around trying to lose weight. It's, hey, we're building momentum. We're trying to show up every single day. We're doing something for our mindset. We're trying to get active. We're trying to eat healthy, right? We're doing things that long term will get you to your goals. But let me go back to the Odyssey. Obviously, I'm biased because I created this course, but I know this is going to help you. So what I'm going to do today is give you an overview of the things that we discuss. And even if you never end up signing up, that's totally cool. I want you to listen to this. And I want you to really think, okay, what things out of everything that I'm about to mention, right? What things can I start to apply? What can I do right now? Do I know if it's, I don't know, mostly my mindset, my activity, my nutrition, what needs more work, most work, let's say, and let's just focus on that. I will be dropping the link in the show notes that will take you straight to the page for the Odyssey. That will give you a full breakdown of exactly what's included in the whole program. It's a very detailed breakdown. You're going to see some client results too, some reviews as well, just so you can take your time and look into this stuff. Because you know what it is too? Like, I don't even want you to listen to one podcast and sign up for something. Now, I'm very particular with our people. Like, I want you to be aware of, hey, our approach. I want you to at least have listened to a few podcasts. And I want you to show up knowing that, hey, although this might be the solution, I'm still going to have to do the fucking work for this to actually work, because you actually need to show up and do the work. I cannot do that for you. That's why I actually can't guarantee results, because let's be honest, I can't sit there and go to the gym for you and eat the food for you and sleep for you. And like, I mean, technically I can, but I'm the one who gets the results then, not you. Right? So I'm going to break down a 12-week roadmap that you could follow, whether it's with me or by yourself, right? If it's with me, you get the accountability and the additional Q&A calls. I'm going to hold you accountable, right? But to finally lose the body fat and keep it off, to actually finally feel healthier, have a more confident mindset, right? Without just depriving yourself all this time. I'll tell you this, the hardest part for many people is the eating more part. And guess where we get people the results? If you saw my post on Instagram, the carousel that I put up on Saturday, you see like, hey, this client lost a massive amount of weight. I think it was like 11% of her total body weight, same for her measurements. And we only dieted for 3 months. And I talked about this in the previous episode too, but like only 3 months out of 8 of coaching together. And she was a one-on-one client actually, but still, you know, like, we do the same things. It's just that in a group setting, you can enter at a lower investment and you do things in a group setting in terms of the education and Q&A. There's less hand holding, but, you know, like, could be great for you. And if that sounds like something, you know, you can benefit from, go to the link in the show notes, go through the page. Like I said, read through it first. I don't want you to make like a, you know, like a knee-jerk decision. Like, no, this is an investment in yourself, something that will pay off massively and way more than the actual investment. Because guess what? When we can get you to lose the weight and finally be done dieting, when we can get you healthy, right? Imagine what that does for your long-term health. Imagine what that does for your wallet even down the road, saving yourself the medical bills, right? And all the other shit that you're going to have to take care of if we stay unhealthy, if we stay overweight or get more overweight, right? Now we run into health issues and it just keeps getting worse year by year by year. And then before you know it, we're 40, 50, 60, kind of depending on where you're at, in your journey, 70, 80. Every decade is going to be more difficult for you, right? That's why I love the age group that we have, because it's usually like, 30s through 50s. Like, it's a perfect time for you to finally get your shit together and make a change that can last. Because the things I teach you, assuming you're proactive and, you apply what you learn, it will serve your life. I know that because I've seen it happen. I've seen this work with people who were stuck for multiple decades. So if that's the case for them, I can guarantee you that when you show up willing to do the work, we can get you the results that you want. And even if that means, hey, or even if that's after you trying all these diets, all of last year, all of the year before, and even if you have set a New Year's resolution that you already fell off of, cool, not a big deal. We're going to go right back to that and make the second quarter of 2025 your quarter together in the Odyssey. You can go on the link in the show notes. Because did you know that like 90% of the people who lose fat actually regain it in no time? It's a sad statistic if you think about it, because it's actually so simple. I'm not saying it's easy, but the solution is simple. And the solution is not your meal replacement shakes and all the cardio and all those kind of the fasting and the low carb, whatever. Like, no. Usually all that leads to is like restarting the same fat loss journey again, right? You're more frustrated. You feel confused because you're like, hey, like, isn't this supposed to be like how it's done? And I see all these people losing weight, but I can't. So now you stop believing in yourself. Maybe you think it's your hormones. Maybe you think it's your metabolism, right? You know what? It's just a bummer too. When you work so hard at the gym and you really do your best, but you just don't see the results. You just don't look leaner. I get it. It's frustrating. You already work so hard, Going back to our clients, we're all normal people, We're all super busy. They all felt the same. So if you feel a little, unsure whether you can even do this, I want you to know that our most successful clients, they all felt like that in the very beginning. They made it happen. So I want to give you a quick breakdown of the 12 weeks together, because I didn't just put this course together for, like a quick fat loss thing or whatever. And again, most people lose a whole bunch of body fat, right? If you go to the page too, that's linked in the show notes, like you see a couple of graphs, waist measurements are dropping anywhere from like 5 to actually like almost 13%. Weight anywhere from 5-ish to like 10-ish percentage wise, right? So relative to your body weight. I mean, that's a big amount, and that's even in 12 weeks, that's nuts. But you know what? You know why I give a shit? Like why I really care about this stuff is because I felt really insecure myself, and I was overweight myself, and I was unhealthy. And I used to wear like extra large t-shirts to hide my gut, and I won't, get into my full story now. Maybe we'll do another, episode where I kind of like tell you about my journey. But I'm like, I felt like shit. I felt like crap. I looked like shit, I think, or I thought so. I was overweight and I felt like just unhealthy. You know what I mean? There's also like a lot of smoking and drinking before then. And I just felt more confused than anything because same thing. I also went to Google how to lose weight, best fat loss plan. The shit doesn't work usually. Like, and this is 2012, like before, TikTok and Instagram blew up. Like, no, this was 2012. And those blogs and those kind of things, but still just as bad. Mainstream media has always been terrible when it comes to nutrition advice, health advice, and it's still the case now, Social media has just made that worse, and we're more exposed to misinformation and misapplied information, or there's just straight up people with bad intentions online, or people who don't know what they're talking about, and that's an issue, but, unfortunately, it's up there. So it makes sense that you feel overwhelmed and confused, but I want you to know, like, I felt like that too. And this is now like 13 years ago, but still. But I did lose 30 kilos, which is almost like, what is that, 65 or 70 pounds, whatever that is. Let's say 65, I think. I lost 30 kilos after making all of those mistakes. So again, I'm also just a normal dude. There was no special diet there. You know what it was? I got a coach, my CrossFit coach at the time. He wasn't like officially my nutrition coach, but he taught me all the basics. And then as I started to apply those basics, I even asked him, like, is it that simple? Because I remember, like, to get my healthy fats in, he was like, yeah, you just make sure to eat some nuts and seeds and, eat your eggs and those kind of things. And I'm like, is it that simple? Is that it? You know what? It is. Now, obviously, I had to get into tracking macros specifically, so that I could relearn portion control. Because guess what? I was overweight. I couldn't trust my personal hunger satiety cues. I didn't know about portion control, so I needed some type of GPS, some type of tool that could, hold me accountable, so to speak, so we had some data to work with. But so I could also look at, hey, like, how much am I actually getting, so that I can then make the changes. And that's how we did that, right? And that's exactly what we do in Odyssey. Because week 1, like, you don't even have targets yet. Hear me out, though. Because we will dive in pretty soon after that. But I first need to see where you're at. Like, what's your food looking like right now? Are you actually eating fruits and vegetables? Are you eating protein, food quality, right? In general, like whole foods versus processed foods. We need to create some starting point. We need to get your first photos, your measurements, your weight, so that we know where we're at, what needs changing. We look at step count, sleep, all that stuff. We need to start with the basics, the foundation, so that we know what needs changing. We look at your food log, we take it from there. Now then the next week, stage 2, right, the second week, we're going to build meals. We're going to create structure. We're going to portion everything out so that it all includes a protein, carb, fat, and color. We'll talk about flexible dieting. And we're going to have you try out those targets first. And we'll just see how it goes. Because one of the main things I do to teach my clients is I have to push you and I have to throw you in the deep, so to speak, and I have to allow you some time to figure things out. And I'm going to get more help or get you more help. And especially during the Q&A calls, which we do every single week, 45 to 60 minutes. Every single week we go live and every single week we dive deep. And I'm going to share a secret too. If you want to do well in the Odyssey, you submit your questions to the Q&A. Because I've seen those people who kept submitting questions and they showed up to every Q&A, whether they actually watched it live or they were there live, I should say, or watch a replay. Those were the people who fucking killed it because they're proactive. It's a group coaching program, so that means we need to participate in the Q&As, right? But they're sharing stuff, etc. Now, okay. Foundations crash course, that's week 3. I'm going to keep the same targets for you. We're not going to change anything. Sometimes maybe we'll increase protein, but the calories will be the same based on your goals or where you've been. Then we're going to go through the foundations so that you fully understand nutrition, training, mindset. We'll talk about the growth mindset. We'll talk about macros and calories and all those kind of things. Just the basics. And hey, maybe you already know this stuff, but we just want to make sure we retouch on those basics. Just about every mentor I've ever had said, we need to be reminded more than taught, which is very true, and it goes for you too. Now, week 4 is a fun one because that's actually my favorite thing to do. I do this with my one-on-one clients, with my group clients. There's this called the perfect day of eating. I'm going to give them more specific guidelines, a checklist, so to speak, so that they know exactly with their current targets what it takes to put together, in quotes, their perfect day. They're going to send it in. We'll review it on the Q&A call, so that everyone sees, hey, okay, with these targets, I'm going to put together these meals and I give them feedback. So if I see certain things that need to be tweaked, I'm going to do that for them. So just like that, you've just built your own nutrition plan with my feedback. You can also adjust it and now you can follow it as a meal plan and see how you like it. And then maybe you want to repeat a bunch of meals from that. But either way, it's going to be something you can always go back to. The next week, stage 5. Time flies, really. Like, I told my people, like, this week, a couple days ago, I'm like, yo, like this was week 12. I feel like we started last week. Time flies. But people have been killing it. If you think about it, 12 weeks is not a long time, but it can be enough time to get a whole lot of work done. Now that next week, stage 5, we're going to dive into sleep, stress management, your evening and morning routines. The next week, we're going to get into meal planning, meal prepping, shopping, so that you can save yourself time and effort and energy. Now, of course, listen, we're not always going to be able to follow the plan to a T, to, have a meal plan. Life doesn't follow a meal plan. So the next week, and this is going to be stage 7, so the 7th week in the Odyssey, we're going to talk about social settings. We'll also talk about your social environment, by the way. Just making sure that, hey, look, we do address like who you surround yourself with, right? Now, that being said, especially with the social settings, whether you look at this from a vacation or weekend or whatever standpoint, evening out, the same approach goes. I want you to go in thinking, okay, I've already been in this scenario in the past. What can I learn from those moments? Is there any information or feedback I can use so I can do better this time? Now we go in with the plan, then we try the plan. So I call this reflect, plan, and execute. You first think back to previous similar scenarios. You go in with a plan, right? You create the plan, you try it out. Now you have to reflect again how you did with the plan. And then once that's done, we repeat. And then time and time again, over and over. Doesn't matter if it takes 3 tries or 20. If we keep going like that, we'll always figure things out. Now, after that, we're going to go back to foundations, but we're going to expand on fiber, hydration, micronutrients, healthy fats, for example, big training as well. And then we'll get into supplementation, how to find quality products, but also some basics that you want to include. Week 10, we're going to dive into mindset. We're going to talk about self-control, willpower, self-reflection, taking the time to prioritize your mental health, right? Doing some mindset work, because it's not just nutrition. We got to talk mindset. Super key. We got to take care of ourselves, right? We got to slow down, create some more stillness in life. Now, week 11, we'll talk about periodization, just knowing exactly how to create a long-term plan, whether that's 6, 12, or more months for yourself based on the different phases that we apply, so that you can reach all of your goals, even though they may be conflicting sometimes, like, for example, running a marathon and fat loss, or doing the CrossFit Open and losing fat. They don't go hand in hand, so we need to make a plan. Not just that, if your goal is weight loss, we're going to have to take our breaks. We're going to have to do reverse diet breaks, those kind of things. So we make sure that you understand, hey, how do I put together a long-term strategy? Make sense? Now, say 10 is really just an overview, week 10, of the process of stepping outside of your comfort zone, understanding that there's going to be, we call this the fear zone, and then the learning zone, and then eventually, the growth zone. But it takes some time. You got to push through the fear. You got to push through, the insecurities, the doubt, and the mistakes. And then eventually we begin to learn and things begin to click. And now we get to the next level. Guess what? After growth, all that's happened is now your comfort zone has expanded. And if you don't want to keep growing, you have to step outside of that again. And that's just a quick overview. I'm considering maybe doing a full breakdown of, this week, let's just break it down into one episode. Supplementation. Okay, let's do an episode about that. I'm considering that. But you know what it is? We can't go as in-depth on a podcast because we don't have the actual conversation between you and me. The Odyssey is now open for enrollment. We are going to start the next cohort on Monday, April 7th, 12 weeks. There will not be a third cohort in Q3. We're going to do one, but that's going to be the end of this year. So if Q1 was a difficult one for you, if Q1 meant, hey, I'm kind of again back where I started. If you're currently frustrated, if you're trying to lose weight, you have not been able to figure this out, I really, really want you to check this out, because I think it's going to be a great opportunity for you. I'm biased because I literally created this course, but I also really believe in this stuff. And that's why I'm putting this out. And that's why I'm so passionate about this stuff. Because if by now it's literally been hundreds of people who had the same self-doubt and lack of self-belief and insecurities and feelings of overwhelming confusion that you may currently have right now, then I know I can help you too. Assuming that you're going to show up. So you better show up. I'll talk to you very soon. Next guest episode is going to be next week. But remember too, you only have a few days left to sign up for the Odyssey. So go to the link in the show notes and I'll talk to you very soon. And I, of course, hope to see you there. Because again, it's going to be a while for the next round. So you better jump in now.